Hey guys, Meow, and I'm back with another video. And today, I'm going to go ahead and do my second first round mock draft. This, of course, coming after the Dolphins Niners trade, the Dolphins Eagles trade, and the Sam Darnold trade to Carolina. Now, funny thing is, this is the third time I've filmed. I filmed one really early this morning. Decided I was going to redo it after I got up. Refilmed it a little. I filmed it again a little while ago. Redid the mock draft actually. Um, and then afterward, I was talking in the football section of your Nation's Discord server. We were having a discussion in there, and I decided, I'm going to redo it again. So this is my definitive mock draft 2.0, round one only. Trades, obviously. There's going to be some big moves here, and um, I'm interested to see what you guys think and what you guys have to, think about it. So let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. Number one overall pick. Nothing to really say. It's Trevor Lawrence out of Clemson. I would be shocked if they don't take him. The only player that I think the Jaguars can take over him would be Justin Fields. I can see that argument, but I don't think you do that. Trevor Lawrence is the definitive number one pick in the draft. And if you don't take him, uh, Fields may still work out, but you look kind of stupid. So Lawrence number one. Jets. This is the big fallout with both the Dolphins Niners trade and then the Darnold trade. Is that originally I was saying Jets move down with the Bengals and Bengals get Sewell, yada yada yada. Then the Niners Dolphins trade happened right before the Dolphins Eagles trade happened. And you could presume that the package that the Niners gave up to the Dolphins was probably a similar offer on the table to the Jets. Jets most likely said or probably said no. And then now the Jets have traded Darnold, which signifies they are taking a quarterback. I have them taking Zach Wilson out of BYU. I think he deserves to be up here. Maybe he went up the draft board a little bit more than he needed to, but I think he deserves to be here regardless. Um, the Jets seem to be really in on him. Um, you know, we'll see. But Wilson at number two. Then we have the 49ers at three with I have them taking Justin Fields. I am not buying into the bullshit with Mac Jones. I'm sorry, but I'm not. He is not going this like that's been my biggest thing is Trey Lance is not going in the top 10. Maybe he goes to Denver at 9, but if Denver's going to take but then Denver would be passing up on a Micah Parsons and I don't agree with that. There's a couple other teams in the top 10. Obviously, people have been talking about the Falcons for some reason. I don't think now is the time to draft a quarterback for them, and definitely not in the first round. Um, there's a couple other teams up there. I Lance is not going that high. Mac Jones is definitely not going. He's not going anywhere near the first round. Second round, most likely. This feels like a Trubisky situation, but worse. And Trubisky shot up the draft board for no reason. Mac Jones hasn't shot up the draft board unless you're the 49ers, who seem to be hyping him up for literally no reason. So make the smart choice, take Fields. I was honestly shocked that they'd move up to begin with because I figured if you're the Niners, you stay where you are, I believe it was 12th, or move up a little bit and grab either Slater or Darisaw or Vera Tucker. Maybe if you don't want one of them, maybe you move down and grab Tevin Jenkins. There are some other interior offensive linemen later in the draft. Landon Dickerson's another one. But they move up to 3. They're going quarterback by the looks of it. They go with Fields. So now this is where the trades start happening. And we have the 4th and 5th picks. And they go hand in hand here. Now, the Falcons have been rumored to trade out at 4, and I completely agree with that. I don't think the Falcons need to stay in that spot. The question is, who do they trade with? And there's a lot of different options they can go with, with the top 10 and just outside of it. But I have them trading with the Chargers. The Chargers giving up the 13th, 47th, 97th picks in the first, second, and third rounds, respectively, and their first and fourth round picks in next year's draft to get to the fourth pick to draft Penei Sewell for that offensive line. I feel like the Chargers could use a bit of an upgrade, and Sewell played with Justin Herbert back at Oregon. Um, this is a Chargers team that I feel like, if even if you look at the beginning of the season, they beat the Bengals off of Randy Bullock's pull hamstring miss, and then you have the Chiefs game, the Bucks game, the Saints game, even the Panthers game for that matter. All games that were winnable. Maybe not the Panthers one because that was Herbert's welcome to the league game, but they still had a chance at the end. There were games last year that the Chargers should have won, but Anthony Lynn can't, manage a clock worth of shit. And that was what put them in the position that they're in. The 49ers, of course, they are in the position that they're in, or were in, being at 12th, with the fact that they were injured to shit. Which again, still going back to them, it still doesn't make any sense that for them to take a quarterback when they have Jimmy Garoppolo, who they paid a shit ton of money for after trading for him from the Patriots, or I should say after the Patriots basically gave him away. They made the Super Bowl 1 year, 2 years ago when they weren't injured to shit. The year before they were injured to shit, which got them Nick Bosa. So the Niners, for that, they're in a weird situation. But anyway, back to the Chargers. So I had them moving up to grab Sewell. This puts the Bengals in a very, very interesting position because the big talk has been Sewell's going to go to the Bengals, and if the Bengals are at 5 and Sewell is there, you take him. But now it's coming out that Burrow is pushing for Jamar Chase, and now there's talk of them taking him over Sewell, which makes no sense. But if the Chargers or somebody else moves up to 4 and they take Sewell, and Sewell is not there at 5, best course of action for the Bengals, move down. Get some more picks and go from there. So I have them trading down with the Cowboys, and the Bengals pick up the 10th, 44th, and 138th picks, along with the Cowboys' first rounder next year for the 5th pick, and the Cowboys take Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. I think they're going to get either Farley or Surtain, but I feel like, Farley could go to 7th or 8th. So I feel like take him, move up, grab him at 5. The Bengals should move down if they can't get Sewell. If Sewell is there, you fucking take him. So then we go to the Dolphins at 6. I think this is a no-brainer. You go Jaylen Waddle. You can address the defense with the other first-round pick that you have. Nothing really much to say there. Lions, they get to take Jamar Chase at 7. I can see the argument for going for Slater or Darisaw here as well. But I think for Detroit, they could probably grab an interior offensive lineman, assuming that a guy like a Landon Dickerson, a Dylan Radnus who's an offensive tackle, Liam Eichenberg, who's also an offensive tackle. If one of them is still there for the Lions later on, they could grab one of them. But I think right here, you grab an offensive weapon to replace Kenny Golladay. You go get Jamar Chase. Panthers at 8. Again, another team that can go offensive line, but I think here, I think they go Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Florida. Um, you know, get a weapon for Sam Darnold. See what he can do there. Hopefully, revive his career. Denver, they stay at 9 and get Micah Parsons from Penn State. It's been them in New England that I've seen a lot of people talking about trading up with Atlanta. Denver is more realistic. I'll get to New England in a moment. But at the same time, I don't think Denver should do it. I mean, you could, if you want a quarterback, you could wait till the second round. And again, assuming the Niners don't make the really stupid decision to take Mac Jones at 3, you could get a Mac Jones, a Kyle Trask, a Kellen Mond in the second or third rounds. and you still have Drew Lock. So I would maybe wait, and if Lock doesn't pan out this year, I think then next year you move on from him. So you add Parsons to that defense with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. And then for the Bengals at 10, they're still going to get an offensive tackle either way. But if they just move down here, and they will grab Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern, that's the move for them. You need to get offensive linemen for that team. And then we have the Patriots moving up to 11. This is the next trade. And I have them giving up the 15th, 46th, and 120th overall picks to the Giants to do this deal to get Devontae Smith. I saw the mock trade that Pro Football Focus had with with the Patriots moving up to uh to grab move up with the Falcons or whatever, and that legitimately makes absolutely no fucking sense to me for two reasons. One, that's not, when do you ever see Belichick give up that sort of haul, that sort of projected haul to move up in a draft? And two, that's not what Belichick does even to begin with. Also, well, I should say two should really be, we brought Cam Newton back. We still have Jarrett Stidham. Wait a year. All right. If Newton can get back to form, and keep in mind, we're getting guys on defense back, and on top of this, I really feel like the Patriots can either go linebacker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah's there, Baron Browning's there, or in this case, like I said, move up, grab Devontae Smith, who will hopefully pan out better than N'Keal Harry did. And also, this comes on the heels of Julian Edelman retiring as of yesterday. So yeah, I don't see New England moving all the way up to 4. I think moving up to 11 is a more realistic move, and even if they want a quarterback, again, Jones, Trask, Mond, there are others that they can get later on. So wait on it. Then we have the Cardinals at 12. We get another trade. The Cardinals, they make a deal with the Eagles, so the Eagles move down again. Obviously, they moved down after the trade with the Dolphins. But the Cardinals get the 12th pick, which was from from the Eagles via the Niners through the Dolphins, along with the 224th pick in the 6th round, giving up the 16th and 160th overall picks, along with their 3rd round pick next year. And that's the key thing. The Cardinals cannot give up their 2nd round pick if they want to move up here. And by the way, I have the Cardinals taking Elijah Vera Tucker to help out on that offensive line to protect Kyler Murray. The Cardinals, they don't have a 3rd or a 4th round pick in this draft. They have a 1st, 2nd, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and I think they have another pick in that area as well. But if they're going to make him, it's a risky move considering that they are lacking draft capital. But I still think you make the effort to move up. You get a later pick out of this. Yes, you give up a future 3rd, but offensive linemen are paramount, and you don't want Kyler Murray running for his life. Look at Seattle right now with Russell Wilson. Wilson's biggest issue is, even though Wilson's a better quarterback than Murray, but Wilson's biggest issue is he's had to run for his life the last few years, and that's what Murray's been experiencing. You don't want that. I believe they were the ones that got Rodney Hudson from the Raiders, which made literally no sense for the Raiders to give him up. But they've got him. They've got some other pieces. Grab Vera Tucker and see what happens from there. Because I think the Cardinals are building something special. And if they do it right, I think this Cardinals team, they could be in the playoffs this year. Will they make a run? Who knows? Now, the other question is, looking at the roster, they bring in J.J. Watt, they bring in A.J. Green, they already have DeAndre Hopkins, obviously, Kyler Murray. They just got James Conner, the aforementioned Hudson, potentially drafting Vera Tucker. The real question is, what is Larry Fitzgerald going to do? He has not announced retirement as of the last I knew. He's a free agent right now, I believe. Um, I would like to see Fitzgerald can come back for one more season with the Cardinals, especially with the roster that they're putting together right now. A lot of people are going to look at this. Well, Green's old. Watt's been injury prone. Green's also been injury prone. Uh, Connor's been inconsistent. Fitzgerald's up there in age. Fitzgerald's still producing. Like, come on now. But I really last year. Their biggest issue was consistency, which that falls on the coaching staff. But I think the pieces are there, and they've added pieces, and I really like this Cardinals team, and I feel like they have a shot to get back to the playoffs, especially with, again, I don't know what if the 49ers, the 49ers, I think will be back. Like, the West the NFC West is the toughest division in the league. Rams, we got to see what happens with Stafford as their QB now, but they were just in the playoffs, so I think they'll be back. Seahawks will I think the Seahawks might be back in the playoffs, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they miss. 49ers, if they're not injured to shit, they're going to make it. If they're injured to shit, they're going to be back in this situation all over again where they have a pick just outside the top 10 of the draft or maybe inside the top 10. Who knows? Cardinals, they fought to the very last game and ultimately didn't make it. The Rams did. Cardinals can very well make the playoffs. We just got to see what happens. So, with all of that being said, we now move on to the Falcons at 13. They take Kwity Paye out of Michigan. Then we have another trade. This time, the Steelers moving up to 14 with the Vikings. The Steelers getting the 14th and 119th picks in the draft for giving up the 24th, 87th, and a third round pick in next year's draft to go up and grab Christian Darrisaw out of Virginia Tech. They need to get offensive linemen. And here's the thing. Like, if the NFC West is the toughest division in the league, I think the AFC North outside of Cincinnati is like the second toughest division right now because the Browns are finally good again. The Ravens are already good. And the Steelers, well, they're the Steelers. But there's always that chance that they're going to be there, even with Ben Roethlisberger still there. I'm not writing them off completely. I don't think they make the playoffs, but I'm not writing them off completely. They're still going to fight. And I feel like with this move up, either they're going to take Darrisaw or they're going to take Patrick Surtain II with this pick. Because both cornerback and offensive tackle are big needs. If they stay where they are, I think they could grab ETN or Najee Harris. We'll see what happens there. But, yeah. So, Giants at 15, I have them taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker out of Notre Dame. Nothing much to say here. If you want to find out more about him, go watch Brett Coleman's video that he did on him. Great piece. Eagles, I have them grabbing Patrick Surtain II out of Alabama. They've moved down. They've moved down twice now, and I would be kind of surprised if Surtain is still here. But at the same time, if he's not, or if he's still here, then the Eagles might have a steal of a pick here. Just saying. Raiders at 17, they go linebacker, and they go grab Baron Browning out of Ohio State. Dolphins go defense as well with the 18th pick. They grab Jaylen Phillips out of Miami. Washington, they take Zaven Collins out of Tulsa at 19. Not a ton to say there. Then the Bears at 20. Trey Lance. I have him going to Chicago. I think for the most part, Lance is probably going to go to Chicago unless somebody else takes him. Somebody takes him way too high. I don't know. But I feel like he's going to go to the Bears. Whether they stay at 20, whether they move up. I think I did in the last mock draft. I have the Bears moving up from 20 to 15 with New England to get Trey Lance. But I think either way, he's going to the Bears. The question is, what the hell do the Bears do at this point? I mean, they brought in Andy Dalton. They let go of, they let Mitchell Trubisky walk. They're a mess right now. Last year's playoff appearance was, they didn't need that. They did not need to be in the playoffs, honestly. The Cardinals probably should have been in there over them. Yes, you could say the Bears got off to the hot start, and then they fell off the face of the map. and squeak their way in. So, yeah. Um, Colts at 21. I have them taking Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. Again, another guy where if you want to know more about him, go watch Brett Coleman's video on him. He did one on him recently. Jenkins, you for the Colts, they need to add a little more on the offensive line. Maybe get a weapon or two later in the draft for Carson Wentz. Uh, Wentz's biggest issue has been injuries, and the Colts already have a solid offensive line. They finally started to address that after Andrew Luck was gone, which pisses me off because you could have addressed it when he was there, but fuck you, Ryan Grigson. Um, but yeah, Tevin Jenkins, as far as I'm concerned, that's the move here. You know, all things considered. Uh, Tennessee Titans at 22. If they can't get Jenkins, then I have them taking Greg Newsome, the corner out of Northwestern. Um, for the Titans, they need to find an identity outside of Derek. Oh, Henry. Shout out to anybody who watches Sizzle Adonis. You get that joke or reference. But they need to find an identity outside of Derek. And while this doesn't do that on the offense necessarily, it does help them on defense considering that they let go of Malcolm Butler. And as far as as far as the offense goes, we'll see what happens in the later rounds. I think Corey Davis left for the Jets, I believe. So they're definitely going to need to pick up a wide receiver at some point. There's the wide receiver class is loaded this year for the most part. Again, you got three of the best in the game right now in Chase, Smith, and Waddle at the top, and then you've got everybody else. But the everybody else portion is it's pretty freaking good. So we'll see what happens there. Jets go defense as well, and they grab Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. The Vikings go out and grab Trevon Moehrig out of TCU, having traded down, of course, with the Steelers, as mentioned earlier. Um, we do have a couple more trades here. I just want to mention that real quick. But anyway, so then we have the Jaguars. They go with Terrence Marshall Jr. out of LSU. Um, and then we get the Packers trading up with the Browns here. Um, and the Packers getting the 26th and 211th picks for the 29th, 92nd, and 142nd overall picks. And the Packers going out and grabbing Rashad Bateman, wide receiver out of Minnesota. J.C. Horn is still on the board. They don't need a running back, but if they weren't able to bring back Aaron Jones, then you have ETN still on the board in this case, but they obviously did. Um, offensive linemen are still available here. They could stay where they are and very well just take Landon Dickerson or Liam Eichenberg. But I have them moving up to get Bateman to get another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. And I think hopefully they'll address other needs later on because that's been the biggest thing is that they don't always address needs. Looking at you, Jordan Love pick from last year. Baltimore Ravens go out and grab Azeez Ojulari from Georgia. I feel like they could go either with this guy or go offense, maybe get a wide receiver. I mean, Kadarius Toney's still on the board here by this point. Saints at 28. I think they're an interesting pick here, but I have them taking J.C. Horn out of South Carolina. Browns, after moving down, grab Levi. I'm going to pronounce this completely wrong, but Levi Onwuzurike out of Washington to add him to the defensive line if they can't get Rousseau, because I think Rousseau could very well go to them. Buffalo at 30, they go out and grab Travis Etienne out of Clemson. Actually, oh yeah, and then we got one more trade here. Uh, sorry. Before we get to that trade, my apologies, I lost my train of thought. Chiefs at 31, they go and grab Liam Eichenberg. I'm still baffled at them letting go of both Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz, especially since last year. Um, especially since that was their biggest issue was offensive linemen or not having them for the Super Bowl. And then the final pick of the first round, Bengals move back up. They give up the 38th and 69, nice overall picks to the Buccaneers, who at this point I think the Buccaneers they're probably going to trade down out of the first round. Um, the Bengals move up and they grab Kadarius Toney, wide receiver out of Florida. Um, to get the wide receiver that everybody wants them to get. Obviously, it's not Jamar Chase, but it's a wide receiver nonetheless. And yeah, so that's my mock draft for the first round. Honestly, again, after talking out with the guys in the Discord server, I felt like to make some changes to the mock draft, redo it basically, um, to make this happen because yeah, I mean there's definitely some interesting things here, and the biggest thing is look at some of the prospects that are still going to be available going into the second round. Najee Harris is still on the board. You have Landon Dickerson, Dylan Radnews, Javonte Williams, Nick Bolton, Rondale Moore, Jalen Mayfield still here. Javon Holland out of Oregon, Jabril Cox, Wyatt Davis, Joseph Asai. Uh, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Samuel Cosme, Asante Samuel Jr. is still out here. Elijah Moore from Ole Miss. There's still some very, very, really good pieces left for the second round and beyond. But I think the biggest thing with this draft is going to be there's going to be a lot of quarterback hungry teams, and there's going to be there's going to be some moves that are going to look really stupid. But at the same time, there's probably going to be some steals, both in the first and second rounds. So we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, so that's my mock draft 2.0, just for the first round. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, let me know as well. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please drop a like, subscribe for more content like this. I will see you all next time. Peace.